Hello and welcome to the Jackson Times podcast. I am your host, Rachel.
I'm Yehuda.
My name's Tina.
And we're here with our lovely guest, Diba.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Diba. I'm a grade 12 student and I'm the president of Art Council.
Ooh. I don't know. And who will have some questions for you?
All right, so to start off, what is Art Council and what is your mission or goals with this club?
Well, Art Council is just kind of like a collective place where the artistic students of AY can get together. That's our general members, but as an exec, we mostly focus on updating the school, so going around and fixing boards and the end of the year art show. That's something that we do. It's quite fun.
How long do you guys prep for the art show?
We started last June for the upcoming May art show. It's a pretty big amount of effort, to be honest. But the earlier you start, the less effort it is, so it's kind of not that bad.
Also, I think on your profile for your Instagram thing, on Art Council's intros, you called your favorite style Art Nouveau. You want to explain that? What is that?
Oh, it's just an artistic style. You can see it in old movie posters and postcards. It's kind of not very realistic. It's a bit more cartoony, but it's still really beautiful and detailed in my opinion, which is why I love it a lot. Yeah.
Is there a particular artist from that kind of art style that you...
I'm gonna be honest, they all kind of look similar, so I don't really have a favorite artist from that era in particular, but I do like it as a collective. Yeah.
Well, as a grade 12 student, you're going to be no longer with us in a couple of months.
You say it like we're gonna die.
I mean,
maybe, I don't know.
you never
In
know.
general, but not soon.
Ooh, let's find out. But are you considering going on becoming an artist in the future? Do you have any plans to go to prestigious art schools, become the #1 painter everyone has ever seen?
Well, I really want to go into architecture. It is an art mixed with the science. I know that TMU they have architectural sciences as a degree, but at U of T, for example, it's just a degree in fine arts or just arts in general. So yeah, that's a big goal. I do want to keep doing art. It's I like it. It's fun. Yeah.
When you're famous, we'll just remember your first interview was here.
I'll name buildings after you guys for
Oh
sure.
my gosh.
The Tina building.
Yes.
Who's your favorite artist?
I really like Peter Draws. I'm not sure of his full name, but he kind of does Zentangle type art. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Yeah, the pattern ones.
Yeah, but he does it with buildings, and he takes an abstract and architectural take on it, which I think is really interesting.
So does he your pavilion kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Would he what would he do with that kind of?
He does more illustration, but I guess he would take that and turn it into a concept. He's very conceptual with his work. I know he has a series on YouTube called Drawing Your Emotions, where he creates patterns based on emotions that people feel throughout the day, which is really cool. So I think he would take it in that sort of direction.
As an art council
Higher up.
art council big
Deity.
man, as the what do they call it?
President.
The Dawn in the Mafia. As the highest being we have here with us.
Is Art Council a mafia family?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. We're gonna say no for now.
Saving those plans for later on in the year.
Yeah, but basically, as the biggest fish in the art council.
The pond.
What's the question?
Give me a second.
Yeah.
As the biggest fish in the art council.
Okay, so we won't cut it out. Don't worry. It's really funny when you have blank spaces.
Okay,
Like this.
as the president
Yes, the president.
That's the word.
of the art council, what would you say to anybody who's interested in applying as an executive for upcoming years?
I mean, for one, is to take art courses, because throughout the year we're creating pieces for the art show. So if we see not even just technical ability, but like a passion for art, like if we see you put work into your pieces, we'll be like, oh, hey, we want this person on our team. And like if you come to our meetings, that's like really good. We get to know you. It's really like personality based. It's not really on your architectural artistic ability. It's more or less like the person you are. Like for example, like one of our members right now, if I can name drop,
You can name them.
our treasurer Eason. I don't think he's in any art courses, but he started off as a general member last year, and like he just kept coming to our meetings and showing an interest, and we were like, oh hey, like this guy is like good at math. He can be our treasurer. So yeah, it's like, yeah.
This was a question from Rachel.
Oi.
Yeah.
Way to call me out. Which one?
Yeah. First one.
Oh yeah. What got you into art?
Honestly, I think as a kid, everyone wants to draw. Like, I'm sure we all as kids, we like to draw our ideas because you have trouble communicating then. So I think it started with that. And then it just became like my family. They always encouraged it. My parents never wanted, because you know how like the stereotype is like parents don't want their kids to go into art. My parents weren't really like that, especially like my grandfather. He is an architect in Iran, so he always like pushed me to do art and like get that creativity out. So I think like that intrinsic desire to create coupled with like my environment of support, that made me like want to keep up with it.
You want to go over like your art phases over the years? Because usually people have like some really like embarrassing, I don't know,
I
animatic.
had a friend who had like a FNAF phase, and it was really funny flipping through her schedule.
I mean, it's funny you point out FNAF because I just watched the movie and it's like it was like
How is
fun.
the movie?
Oh, it was pretty good actually. Like I'm deathly afraid of animatronics, and I kind of forgot about that fear until I actually showed up to the theater and I saw them on screen. So I thought it was scary, so I thought it was good.
Can you imagine you like cowering in fear of Chuck E. Cheese?
Yes, oh my goodness. And like when he would blink, his eyes would go black instead of like his like fur color. So it just looked like he had black holes for eyes, and that would freak me out.
At every birthday party.
Pretty much, yeah. But I'm sorry, what was the question?
Okay, like take us through your art phases.
Right. So I think like as a kid, it was just my first grade teacher. She would let us like draw stories or write books in like our recess time if we don't want to go outside. So I'd draw comics, and like that carried out until like about middle school, where I started getting into Percy Jackson, and I started creating a lot of fan art for them. And then the Odd Ones Out and Jaden Animations, they got really popular. So I got I got into like animation and like making animatics and stuff. And then the anime phase started, where my artwork was just like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z, stuff like that. And then high school started, and it became super duper architectural, and that's kind of where I am now. So yeah.
This is not related to any questions you've discussed, but have you ever considered a career in drawing furries?
Are we cutting? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I haven't.
Well, you have your first commissioner right here.
I was talking with a friend, and they were talking about how you get paid
It'd be good money.
Yeah, you make
So
bank.
much.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's like a correlation between people who are like successful and them being furries, and I don't know why. Like lawyers, doctors, like people in like Congress, like
They're furry.
engineers, furries.
No,
Yeah,
it's literally,
no.
there's so many, okay, I'm not even gonna say anything like that right now, but like this US Congress has a lot of like, they're a bit of like freaky people. There's some freaky people. They all be like 80 years old, but like,
I mean, if there's a demand, there has to be a market. Thanks for the heads up, man. Might just apply to OCAD illustration for that one. But I haven't thought about it, no. Like, animals are really hard to draw. I just always drew what was easiest. So, yeah.
sometimes they don't even have to be like anatomically correct. Are you part of figure drawing?
I'm in the club, yeah, but I'm not an exec. Yeah.
We're going off the rails.
I'm so sorry. I was just thinking about how you were talking about your phases, and I always feel like
Where's the furry?
if you know someone who draws and they draw really good animals, there's a chance they had a warrior cat's face.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard, yeah.
Or
Or like-
Dream SMP phase or something.
Or
Oh
like
my goodness.
freaking Wings of Fire if they're
Oh,
really
yeah.
good at drawing dragons, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I had like so many friends. There was like this entire trend in middle school where everyone was just drawing like dragons because
Yeah.
of Wings of Fire.
I do remember that.
Mine was Pokemon, man.
Oh, same.
I forget what mine was. It was definitely something anime. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, pet peeves coming to art.
Oof. I feel like tying your personal worth to what you create, just as like someone who creates art, I have that pet peeve with myself and I have it with my friends. Like taking a lot of art courses, if someone creates something that they don't like, that's an extension of themselves. So they start not liking themselves and their ability and all of that. So that's like, it always makes me sad because like you're creating, you're creative. You should be able to like have fun in what you create.
I love how your pet peeve is like
Wholesome.
and you know it's so like in depth and it's like so philosophical. And then there's like Miss Mahmoodi, guys, no smudging
Yeah.
at all.
Okay, if you want like something superficial, let me think.
Now it feels like we're bullying you into some bad things.
I mean,
I think we need 2 guests next time.
we'll get like the VP on. But like, I don't like it when people rip pages out of their sketchbook. Like, dude,
I
like,
feel.
I know it's like what you drew is like you think it's bad. It might objectively also be bad if there is any objectivity in art. But like, you gotta own that, you know? Like, leave it in there.
I feel slightly called out.
Oh.
Yeah, like what have you been in your personal sketches,
Mm-hmm.
like not for like portfolio or anything? What have you been kind of working on?
I mean, tough question because like we also have to hand in our sketchbooks. Like that's actually really hard to separate what you do for like work in school versus what you do for personal. Because I was actually speaking to a couple of my friends about this. It's really difficult to draw that line. Like everything I do, man, it's like going either into my portfolio or into my sketchbook for OCAD. But OCAD's a little bit more like they allow you to experiment even though it's not directly related to their program. Like I'm applying for like landscape design. So usually it's buildings. Unfortunately, like I've lost my touch with my anime background. But I do still make fan art and stuff, I guess. Like I was just drawing Miles Morales in English today, listening to like a podcast. Don't tell Miss Carfuses.
Furry buildings. No, I feel like that's like a corporate, like one of those YouTube headquarters, but there's like a giant furry on it. It's like a YouTube sign.
I mean, an architect had to make that, so
Okay.
if I could follow Tina's idea, maybe I could be the first furry architect.
This is like a podcast, like so much visual art in it, and I'm just like, it's a podcast. We cannot have like accompanying visuals for this. Very sadly. Oops.
If you want, I can just like throw like.
We can,
No,
like-
I'm not throwing furries on the screen. I'm not editing that. Hold on.
No, it's okay. We can get our junior to edit that in for
You
us.
can put little sound effects in the corner.
You guys have your own Jackson Times Mafia. The juniors have to put furries on the screen. It's like a rite of passage for them.
Like a tradition. If you want to advance, not only do you have to cut off your finger, you have to also put furries on your screen or something. Okay. Like going back to art council because this is kind of for promo. Like
Right.
what vibe do you guys offer?
Oh,
Like what is the mood?
I think like friendly. We try to be. Yeah, like speaking from my own personal experience, I guess COVID like played a hand in it, but I didn't join art council in grade 9 actually because I was really scared and intimidated. So when we came back and I like applied to be an exec, we really wanted to make it a club for like all skill levels, all like facets. So even if you want to go into like business, for example, like you can still come in and draw. So it doesn't really matter if this is like something you want to do. You can just come in and hang out. Yeah.
Oh, has it always been that way or have you like recently tried to do that? Like
I can't speak towards it before COVID, but I think like before this, it used to be super arts and crafts related. So now, as I was like speaking to you guys for our upcoming like collab, we want to try to make it like more workshop based, which is like promo. Come to the Jackson Times /Art Council collab to draw comic strips.
yeah, we're going to have expert advice from Sheridan animation
Maybe.
students. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still trying to get those. And we are like going to give you free publicity and clout on our website.
Pretty much,
and,
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be fun to see. Everybody's different comics. How did the Halloween thing go for you guys? Your activities?
I think it went really well. We weren't sure because a lot of our members were in grade 11 and grade 12 last year. So either they've graduated or right now they're quite busy. So we're focusing on like getting in tune with our grade 9s and 10s. It was like really popular among them actually. It was quite a zen activity to come in, listen to some music and paint a pumpkin. And it was like a good way for the execs to connect with our members and like just make sure they're doing well.
Okay, lastly, as art council pres, are there any things that you can potentially leak, like other than our comic? What's happening for your club in the near future?
Okay, so I admit we are like going into more workshop related things. So I think we're gonna have some figure drawing club collabs, and we're definitely gonna have portfolio talks later in the year. For those who don't know, portfolio talks are like when AY Jackson students that have gotten into a program come in and display their portfolio and they talk about it. I was also thinking of like having painting workshops. I think like, especially since that's a course that's offered in second semester, it would be nice to get kids familiar with paint to see if they want to take that course. Yeah.
Indoctrination.
Pretty much, yeah. Stay in the arts.
Yeah.
As art council president, have you ever tried any other sort of arts other than visual arts, like music, dance, drama?
Ooh, that's a good question. When I was a kid, I really liked dance, and I kind of grew out of it, and I'm like inept when it comes to music. Like I was so bad at that. I was terrible. So that was kind of like, I stayed away. Drama, I never really had any experience with. It was kind of always just visual arts, which is interesting that you mentioned.
What's your favorite medium?
I love like ballpoint pen on regular like sketchbook paper. It's like the material I feel most comfortable with. That's what I like to create. But I love to see acrylic paintings. I think it's like, it's kind of like hard edge. So it's a bit different than oil paint where you get that like glowy feel since most people work in like layers and different glazes. It's just like a different modern look to it that I admire.
I feel like that also feels like, with ballpoint pen specifically, it's like really homey, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those kind of hard to get like comfortable with after a while.
Yeah, you have to like own your mistakes and like you have to get comfortable with your like quality of like your contour lines. You know, Miss Mahmoudi always says like your contour lines matter. You're like comfortable with that.
Like courses right now?
I have advanced functions, portfolio, interior design, and English. Yeah.
We love English.
We do.
Do you guys have English together?
Oh no. Like, the grade 12 collective just
Yeah.
nobody likes English.
Oh, no, you can't say that, Mr. Chu's right across the hall.
Off the record.
He was like, no, he does. Does he do grade 11 English?
Yeah, he's doing grade 11 gifted,
Aw.
and he's not teaching
Feel
me.
bad for gifted teachers.
Oh,
What?
As a gifted student, I don't know if I should be offended or not. I am out of depth with all of this conversation. Like contour lines, like spacing. Yeah, I know what that is.
do you want to talk about science with our art council president?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like architecture is more of like a STEM-based art, I guess. So,
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's a good amount of like Euclidean geometry. Like you aren't asked to like simplify logarithms in interior design, but like, for example, the assignment I'm doing right now, the pavilion, I have a lot of curves and we have to like hand draw the views of that. And like, you have to get like an oval and you have to draw like the maximum and minimum axis and like you have to create yourself like a little diagram that like you create that shows the points on the outside of the oval. And like, yeah, you could do it with like Euclidean geometry where you take like the bisector of each point and like just keep doing that until you have an infinite number of points, but who has time for that? Am I right?
Make
Yeah.
the computer do it.
Pretty much, yeah.
From what I hear from people, like mostly on Reddit, the relationship between the engineer and the architect is the architect has a very pretty design and they hand it to the engineer, and the engineer takes like 2 glances at it and goes like, "What are you doing?"
Pretty much, yeah.
How are we supporting this? This thing is. And I think the same principle kind of goes for like user like graphics artists and like computer software people, as my brother has lamented to me over and over again.
Yeah. There's always like that disconnect between like the creative and then the
Practical.
exactly. Yeah, like even when you're creating like something for graphic design for like a client, they have their specific needs, but like you have that technical background of like the kerneling between specific letters, and they're like, no, I want this font to create this much space within my design, and you're like, oh, that doesn't create a cohesive look though. Yeah.
It's okay. All you need to do is go into furry art, and you'll be making so much money.
You don't even have to, like, I would if I could.
You know what? Start practicing, man. You can make bang.
I don't want like people looking through my notebooks like looking at me like, what's happening here?
Do them on a computer and hide them in a folder.
Pretty much.
Password protected folder.
Label it like physics notes. No one's gonna want to look in there.
They'll like ask you for it. It's like, oh, physics notes. I'm a physicist. I want to look at
No, but if they're a physicist, they're successful, which means, you know.
Exactly. They're a potential client.
Yeah.
maybe they'll like it. Maybe.
As an artist, you know, there's a lot of creative stuff. How do you deal with burnout, if you've dealt with it ever?
Oh yeah, man. My portfolio season is here. Like everything I create is for that. So I guess there's like that creative burnout of creating artwork that's personal to me. It's not just what a professor wants to see. Because at the end of the day, as an artist, what you're producing is a product, and people need to want that product for you to survive in like society or whatever. But I think like
We live in a society.
pretty much, yeah. And like to thrive in that, you need to understand like why you're creating it. Like I'm not in interior design, for example, for the grade. I'm in it to create artwork that I'm proud of. I can put on my portfolio, and so I can learn. And it's also just something I like doing. So as long as like if you started it, you had passion, sure that passion might burn out, but it's your job to like figure out how to get back to it. Yeah.
Okay, would you agree with the statement, if you enjoy your work, you'll never work a day in your life? Agree or disagree, and why?
I guess I'm on the fence. I know that's not the answer you want to hear, but like, it's so true that while interior design is so much work and I stress over it a lot, at the end of the day, it's like my favorite class. Like, I come to school, and when I have it the first period of the day, I have such an amazing day because I'm just working off of that high. But I think like sometimes it can be the bane of your existence to have what you do as a hobby be your job, because when you don't have that motivation, it's hard to find that balance. But then it's also something that you really like. So if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's not that difficult. So.
Yeah, like that's exactly why three of us are probably not going into that. But that's great. You want to go into that.
Thank you for listening to the Jackson Times podcast. This is our first episode. It is a bit of a train wreck, but I think that's fine. I mean,
Okay, anything that's bad's gonna get cut out by Mr. Chu. This is all gonna be run through.
We're going to get like 2 minutes of audio.
Anyway, you have 50 seconds to plug your socials, Diba, and the timer starts now.
Okay, so follow AYJ Art Council on Instagram. Follow my personal one, diva.pdf, for all your artistic questions and or needs. Follow Jackson Times. Of course, you guys have been great hosts. Thank you for having me. And make sure that you drink water. It's kind of difficult during midterm season to take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of yourself.
I was not timing that.
Okay.
But yeah. See you next time.
We'll probably cut it off there.
Oh, yeah.